How are you, my viewers? Today it's another show. We are at Ango Gen Z show. Habel.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Fine sana Uncle Gen Z.
Yes.
Unaendeleaje?
Mimi niko poa.
Mambo
iko poa.
Wiki imekuwa fiti.
Kabisa. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so today's topic is going to be a little bit interesting actually. Normally we talk about political, economic issues that are in Kenya.
Yeah.
But today we want to delve into something a little bit social, something that has been trending, unpopular, but it's something that we need to cover. That is the gender-based violence that is happening in Kenya. So GBV manze.
Yeah.
So it's an unfortunate thing that we have to discuss such a thing because but unfortunately it happens. So what we want to look in today is what is gender-based violence. How can it manifest itself? How can we help eradicate it? What are the laws and policies that are in Kenya that have been put in place to eradicate this virus?
Yeah, because even if we are not going to address this virus and yet we need something that a developed country, then the morals will not be there.
Exactly.
And one of the things that defines us a country, it is moral and their culture.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this thing, GBV, inakula our country sana.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And when I was doing my research, there are so many definitions of gender-based violence, but I think one of the most simplest that is very direct is gender-based violence being any form of negative or violence or a negative act that is being made on any gender of the human being. Basically, there are those. I don't know. I was asking you actually before you started the show whether ushaisikia story ya wanaume pia kupigwa ama kufanya vitu kama
hizo. Yeah, they do happen. Mtu agongwa na fura.
Yeah, those cases happen, but today we want actually to focus more on the other gender, which is the females, the women basically who are in the society, because they're the most rampant and they're the most directly affected when it comes to gender-based violence, unfortunately. So we want to delve into how gender-based violence can be manifested. I was telling you the other time, there is physical abuse, there is economical suppression where unaweza nyimwa pesa. Of course physical abuse comes in the sense of where someone being beaten, someone being kumwagiwa acid, kuchapwa, kukanyagwa, those things really happen and there are so many cases on it.
And you wonder, is that a human act, ama ni animal act?
Yes, exactly. And I was actually going to ask you, where do you think, why do you think someone would be, if you get to that point of unamwagia mtu acid, maybe you're in a relationship, you're na mtu for 3 years or 10 years, it doesn't matter the timeline, but I was saying somewhere in TikTok, I don't know whether it was TikTok or YouTube, they were saying it doesn't matter how how bad umekosewa ama something like that, but trying to kill someone, trying kumwagia acid or doing any form of torture does not justify the fact that you are causing harm to someone else, And when we're looking at other manifestations, we also need to understand that not gender-based violence, but female genital mutilation is also a form of gender-based violence. And those cultural practices that happened long time ago that are primitive, are something that is that has slipped into the society nowadays, still there, and it's unfortunate that it has to happen.
Even the culture,
exactly.
It has also affected the gender-based violence, the way African culture views the ladies. We also have something like, we can mention them even before you dive in on them. We have something like the, what do you call it? Chauvinist.
Male chauvinism.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens and it really affects our society.
By the way, did you also know that cyberbullying is also a form of gender-based violence? When you go to the phone and you make a comment on something, blah blah blah, and also leaking someone's nudes. By the way, did you know that is also a form of gender-based violence that is actually written in the constitution that if you do so, you will be fined. I think it's a minimum of either 5 years or 3 years.
You can read it so
exactly.
that our viewers can understand what you're trying
I actually
to
don't have I don't have the articles, but I don't have the exact text, but I have the articles that I will give out later during the course of the show.
But you wonder,
yeah,
this thing should have been taken serious during the story of John Matara. Remember John Matara
Yeah, I
and
remember
Wahoo?
again Wahoo Scarlet.
Yeah, these are the things that they should have been taken serious at that point rather than right now. Even the season that Kenya was experiencing, that act of Airbnb,
Airbnbs, yeah.
these things also they should have been taken serious at that point, rather than right now they are affecting families. You know, whereby you just wake up. You remember the story of the, was it a chairman of a certain church, alikatakata bibi yake mikono to an extent that alibleed akakufa. Yeah. So you wonder if this thing now it has been taken even to the people that should be the mirror of the society. They are doing such act. What about those who are not in the mirror of the society? It means there are so many ladies who are affected, but they are still in silence.
In silence, yeah. And you actually have raised a very important issue because it takes us to how we can eradicate, this virus as a society. And when you mentioned that it should have ended, it should have been taken seriously during the John Matara era, which is actually, I think it happened the first few months of this year. It's an unfortunate situation that it happened because it's still happening. At 20 years ago it happened, 10 years ago, right now it's happening. It might happen 10 years down the line or even more. But that's actually, and that is why it's called upon that we come together as a society, both men, women and children. Because remember, when you talk about gender-based violence or the fight against gender-based violence, it's not a matter of men versus women, but it's a matter of society versus gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And that's why now we need to look into how is it that we can eradicate this thing. I always talk about first things first. Prevention is always better than cure. I normally say, or I normally advocate for civic education. I always advocate for raising awareness of these things. Actually, I think we're in the era of the gender-based violence work. I think it's supposed to end on the 10th. I'm not so sure about it, but it's something that we need to.
The 26 days.
Exactly.
Was it 26 or 16?
I think
16, 26. We'll confirm.
We are not sure. We'll confirm.
Yeah, but it is going on.
Exactly. So
yeah.
It's something that we need to kuiendeleza pia. I always also talk about the role of education. I think
before we go to the role of education, there's also something that I would like to say when it comes to the education, the public education. Please, as a non-governmental organization, don't take advantage of being funded just to impress, brand yourself, and go to the society and try to say, let us stop this thing. Please be prepared to fight this thing, other than just running to the society because you need an organization to fund you for you to secure a certain amount. This thing is serious. We don't need to just go say, men stop fighting, but you don't want to look deep down. What is the cause of this thing? The roots of the gender-based violence. If we will just run to the society just to be funded, to secure a certain amount of money, because now this is like a plague, epidemic in our country, definitely we won't assist. They will still continue. And that's why you wonder why your family still are experiencing such things, because you're eating the money of that you are funded to bring a change in a society. But what you are doing, you consume the money.
Exactly.
Get ready before you look for funds. Do something that you are impacting a society. Don't run to just brand yourself, wear shirts. We are fighting against this, mobilize people. Please, even if we are going to walk from Nairobi all the way to Uganda to fight this thing, can we walk as we educate? But let us not take this opportunity to secure certain amounts of money from different organizations. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Exactly. And even on that note, maybe I could also add in, when we are fighting this gender-based violence, you also need to look, there needs to be a lot of intentionality. You have to be very real when it comes to fighting this. I always hear that people are not taking this case seriously until it happens maybe to someone close to them, maybe a relative, maybe a friend, maybe your sister, your mom, your whatever. That is when you decide to take it seriously. But I always say, don't let experience be your best teacher or something like that.
Learn by seeing.
Line exactly, and prevention is way better than anything else.
Exactly.
Usingoje like some to our viewers, maybe whoever is watching, kindly don't wait until someone who is close to you is experiencing this thing. This is something that can happen to anyone at any time. No one even wants to experience it, but we are trying to ensure that doesn't happen. So let's always try to raise awareness. Okay, I was given the point of the role of education, especially to be incorporated as a serious curriculum in our education system. Okay, for 844, I'm not so sure about the CBC because there are a lot of paradigm shifts that are happening. The 844 system unfortunately did not have they didn't used to take that. You remember in primary school and in high school, there was always that lesson on Friday after
Life skills.
the life skills one.
Yeah.
Unakumbuka mwalimu wa maths alikuwa anaingianga hapo
Hapo
ndo
the
alikuwa
life
anajipick
skills,
up. But you see,
lakini ni hesabu.
exactly. But you see, that there's a reason as to why it was put there, and life skills is very, very much important, and it plays a crucial role, or rather, it plays a crucial, way in how we socialize as human beings huku nje, because at the end of the day maths ni mzuri, lakini haitasaidia in eradicating some of these things. Now, speaking about that as one of the downfalls of, not even downfalls, but one of the negative, or rather things that
We failed
we failed basically
as a nation.
I would advise any educational stakeholder who is watching, or anyone who's connected,
They should take
this thing seriously. And now that CBC is being incorporated to the youngsters, that the Gen Alphas and all that, they need to incorporate such talks. Hata kama ni kutengeneza vitabu or short pamphlets or something like that, they should try do it. NGOs who are supporting gender-based violence to travel around schools, around communities. Sensitization is really important in such cases.
And even discriminating a boy child, it won't help. It will just increase the GBV. But at least making a boy child understand the role of a lady in the society and the challenges that these people go through and how they can assist them, or the way it's not all about money, but I'm experiencing periods. I'm your friend. I'm a girl. You are a boy. If you're able to get a clue of what that means and the feeling that this lady might showcase during that season, then you are able to handle, not to feel like it is something awkward. That act while we are high school, kona nini, we isolate her. It is a part of your diminishing the girl child, but it is not caused by the action that she experienced, but the society that she is within. Whereby now the boy child is not able to understand that this is part of life to the girl child. And he should be there for the girl child, either to make sure she's feeling that love, that like he's not alone in this, even if she's the one
who's experiencing it.
But as long as now the boys will be discriminated in a way that you are a killer. You men, you don't value ladies. Men, we are all growing, and that's why I do say, even if we are empowering a woman, a girl child, can we also empower the boy child? Because we survive by uniting. I can say I'm not going to marry because I fear having that gender-based violence, but I will still have a relationship with these people in the work, with these people in community, even if they are not in my house.
You will find them here outside in the society.
And this thing doesn't start by just experiencing that heartbreak or I need to go, then you are killed. No, it starts while you are young. How you view the girl child, and also how the girl child is able to handle the boy child.
Now, you raised a good point on story now women empowerment, and maybe while we can talk something short about that. Um, it's women. Okay, the women or the ladies. Yes, the empowerment is still going on, but I still feel as if it's not yet up to where it's supposed to be. Now, when we talk about women empowerment and the role of men
In the
in that
society.
space of women empowerment, I think one of the things that society has not yet gotten a clue, or rather, how it's supposed to handle women, the role of men in women empowerment. Yes, a woman should be empowered, but we also need to teach men how to handle a lady or an empowered woman. Not
Yeah.
yet. And I feel as if it's very necessary because there are so many men out here, unfortunately, just pia si ni wanaume.
Yeah, we
who
are
feel-
men. We are speaking at a point of we
Exactly.
being in that society.
So I think there are some men who really feel insecure when their lady probably gets to earn more money than them. They, watamwambia, hey, hapana acha hii kazi, let's focus on this relationship or something like that. They feel a little bit, insecure when a lady gets a higher leadership role or something like that. But you'd find that in a good number of those cases, and it's I don't know how I'm going to say this point, but I would advise the men, if your lady has been empowered, kindly, please, be the support system. See, kila time, they fixate that a man should always have, should be always financially on top or some level. But in life, in the modern life or the modern era that we are in, it is very much possible for a lady to have more money than you, to have some level of success or leadership role, which is okay. It's aina shida, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's always good to understand that you are being in a relationship or something like that. It's not a matter of completing, but it's a matter of complementing. There's something that you will bring to the table, there's something she will bring to the table. So it's up to you to understand how you're going to sit down and how you're going to coin your relationship and how you're going to basically mold that relationship to be what it is. And that's just something small on that story in women empowerment.
The challenge in that thing whereby a lady is being paid more than a husband, or let's say a wife being paid more than a husband, then the husband is complaining about it. That's the only thing that you should consider there. It is what propels the relationship.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a man with a vision, a man who knows something that they should achieve. When you marry, you become the vision carriers. You become the head, she becomes the neck. Thereby you place things on the table, she's able to analyze. Then you look for the way forward. That is whereby we say healthy relationship. But one thing that qualifies an healthy relationship, it is communication, whereby you are able to communicate. But if there is that man chauvinist, whereby a man feels, oh, you earning, you may go, because the man doesn't have a future.
The vision is not
The
there.
vision. Where should my wife fit in this vision?
Yeah.
But if you just want a family, whereby just I should go work, come back, find my wife there with the kids dancing. And this thing is also killing the sweetness of relationships.
Yeah.
Whereby from Monday to next Monday, Monday to Monday, wife ako pale tu. It kills even the sweetness of relationship. Whereby I'm used to see my wife. In maybe she just woke up in the morning, did some general cleaning because we are in the village, and then amekaa hivyo. Nimekuja nimempata majioni akikaa hivyo. Then anaoga that time majioni because ndo amemaliza things. But you see, if she will be able to wake up early in the morning, I just go to job and she has something to do. She wake up, bathe, dress, and then go. Come meet again in the evening.
Yeah.
I'll be able to see another picture of my wife.
Exactly. And I think that's also very important because exposure also widens the brain. It helps you think more. It helps you to analyze things,
At
on a
another
point of
angle.
exposure.
Yeah.
Exactly, at a different angle. Get. So, while we're still even on that point, we also need to talk about empowering women economically. Because remember, one of the ways that GBV can manifest itself is by financial deprivation. when one partner ananyima the other partner maybe resources ama pesa ama something like that,
There was a story, let me cut you off first. There was a story that I read somewhere. I don't know, I read or I watched on TikTok, whereby a man was trying to seek the third party advice. Whereby he was trying to say, I had a job, I was fired. My wife now is the one who's sustaining us
that
in the
relationship, in the
family.
family, in the house.
But unfortunately, my wife doesn't treat me like a husband. She can just wake up in the morning, no words. She would tell me even what I should cook because I'm in the house, and she will just go. Unfortunately, the man now has a job, but he feels that this lady does not qualify to be my wife because of what
She
did
did.
during that period. So the man is trying to ask, should I just divorce this lady and marry another one, or what should I do? Not, that thing can trigger to gender-based violence, whereby now a man will be able now to confront the woman to showcase that you saw me being stupid, being reckless. But now I have a job. I don't need your money. And such families whereby you find like now things tends to go east and west.
Yeah.
Nothing goes north. Wanakaa hivi. So you wonder, where is the problem? The problem when it comes to women, when we say to empower the women economically, definitely a man who has experienced such thing, he will be against it.
Okay, that's true.
And they will be like, no, you don't know what you're saying. But definitely, for me, I would like to say, before a lady, there's a principle that I love using called duet. Like today, you have to go to Mombasa. So what will you do?
You have to prepare.
You have to prepare. You have to wake up in the morning, pack what you need for the journey, and then be on time in the bus stop and begin the journey. Because the end of the journey is Mombasa. So definitely, as a lady, you don't deserve to experience some of the things in the in the in the in the relationship. Be prepared. What if this happens? What if this happens? This is life.
It's life, exactly.
We walk at a level of faith. I know tomorrow I'll get. I know tomorrow I won't get. But if now we will empower the women economically, but they lack that ability to understand the relationship between a man and a woman, then it's whereby now it reaches a point the lady needs a man because of just sex desires. But once the lady understands the value of a man and a man understands the value of a lady, then everything can be empowered. Let us not decorate a tree in the leaves, but let us go deep down to the roots and try to analyze what kind of this soil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, even to extend, maybe just an extension of what you're trying to say is that you gave a very good example where the man who doesn't have a job has been amedhulumiwa na bibi yake kwa kukosa kazi. And truth be told, there are such situations that happen actually. But that's where you now have to go back to the drawing board and actually figure out the woman-man dynamic in that relationship. You need to ask yourself the intentionality that is behind that relationship. You need to ask yourself, what is the role that you are playing as the man in this relationship, the role you are playing as a woman in the relationship. Because we all have different things to offer. A man doesn't only have to offer financial
support every time.
Exactly. There are so many things a man can do. Every form of gender has different roles or different things to offer than what the society can or dictates towards you. Yeah, and I feel as if that's one of my take. And you mentioned something that I've tomorrow being tomorrow is unknown. Hakuna mtu mwenye anaamka kesho akijua kenye itatendeka.
We go by faith.
We go by the faith of whatever faith we subscribe to, basically.
Yeah.
So today, as the man can be the top of the relationship, can be, you know, the top of, can be the head, can be the provider, can be the protector and all that, but kesho ataenda kwa ajali, miguu zivunjike, something like that.
Are you able to care for him? Sorry.
Exactly. Are you also able as the lady to step up to that role?
Or you say now Nikiwete, I'm not going to support him.
Exactly. You know,
what was he doing? You begin to judge. And this, let me say, we boy child, we are kind of very funny. We don't study by experiencing. Even seeing the physical act. That's why they say men are very attentive to the physical appearance. But lady go with feelings mostly, and they focus a lot to understand more about who are you. But men, we can talk for 5 hours even without asking you what's your name. My stories is shashika
too.
But a lady will be like, what's your name? You should like to know who are you. But a man will be like, no. Hey, yeah, we go. It was fun. We enjoyed it. It was very cool. And you're like, bro, what is this? And this is a part that defines the lady and the man. Whereby a man can a boy child can study something by seeing a man being tortured by a wife. And then from that article, a boy is able now to understand, oh, if I treat my wife like this, I might end up being treated like this man. But he hasn't yet experienced that thing. Only what he has done is just visualize the action and then try to find something within it. But if now we are able to understand that some of these things should be exposed at an angle of bringing a change, but not discriminating the boy child, we'll be able to conquer this GBV. Other than doing education, other than doing these things. Secondly, majority of the men in Africa are really based on how women are viewed by the cultures, whereby the practices a lady is just to be married, stay at home, give us children.
Those traditional roles that are sent to women, basically.
Take care of animals. You know, you should be able to understand the number of animals. Yani mwanamke ni mali. But now you see there's a digital form whereby now a lady is not ni mali, is a part of the mali. There's this article, people say whenever the successful man, whenever there's a successful man, there's a woman behind. Now that one has turned to there's a woman aside.
And you know, actually, Uncle Gen Z, while we are on that note, it's always good to understand that every relationship is different. My relationship with maybe my partner cannot be the same with yours. The point I'm trying to drive here is there are some relationship where they still, you know, have the traditional roles or the traditional mindset in their relationship. And that's why I'm saying we also need to define different relationship they need to sit down and define their relationship.
And the purpose.
Exactly, and the purpose. And so it's all a matter of, you know, sitting down. In the case of a relationship, that is, it's always good to sit down and figure out what you want, what you bring to the table, what would be your role as the man or the woman.
What is the target in this life that you are together? How many kids do we need? Why should I trust you? Why should you trust me?
And you always mention about having a vision, and that is why, and that is where now you have to sit down and figure out things. That's why I normally say a relationship is not a matter of coming together to
stay.
Not even to stay. You're not coming to complete the relationship. You're coming to complement each other. Reason being is there's something that you're coming with, there's something that I'm also coming with. Tuka even done it one venye to incorporate vitu. And I always mention on the law of reciprocity, which basically would state that do unto others what you want to be done unto you. I get. So there's no reason for you to perpetuate, you know, this hateful act of gender-based violence if you don't want it to come back to you one way or another. I get. So I think it's human nature to put that, you know, into the table and on the show.
Yeah, and try to treat ladies like our sisters. And even if there's that intimacy within the relationship, of which it is part of what builds the relationship. But apart from that, why are we together? Should we continue being together because I wanted a husband, you wanted a wife, I wanted a wife? You see, these are kind of the things that nowadays we should consider, even as a generation, to end this thing, whereby she's my partner. First, why do we feel that we need to be husband and wife? What is this thing? What is her destiny? What does she want to achieve? What do I want to achieve? Can they be compatible? If something is compatible, even the portability is advanced. Whereby at an angle whereby now we are able to understand my husband one day wants to be like a pilot. For me, one day I want to be a lawyer. There are challenges that comes with such things. Because a lawyer, we may have a kid. Now is whereby now we must share the role of a child. You are a pilot, yeah. Today you are not going to job, but I have job. Will I still go with the kid, or will I have to stay? This is a part of agreement.
Exactly.
And we understand. There is no a time that I will say my wife is focusing much in a job, other than focusing much in the family,
Yeah.
because I knew that what she wanted. But if we will be able to sit down and try to analyze, baby, you know what, you are doing this thing much. Can you try now to create time for us?
Yeah, balancing off.
Try to balance.
Yeah.
And the one is part of communication, whereby I want to be able now to raise hand to beat my wife. She would be able now to bring a very funny thing in our relationship. Oh, you know. And even if you have that purpose, you'll be satisfied when your wife tells you, I may be late, I'll come at this time.
Yeah.
Then transparency and trust is another thing that builds a relationship. Whereby you don't need to every time try to prove you are right. Every time you need to also I don't need to prove that my wife, she's always wrong. Doesn't mean I just brought a problem within my life. Why then was I interested to her?
Yeah.
Now that one will try to bring the picture. The fact, what I do say, Habel, is that the problem is not the what do you call? The problem is not the relationship. The problem is, are you prepared for? Why do I feel like one day I will marry?
Which also then that is why your point yako inawana na yangu ya the intentionality that needs to be in that relationship.
So I must prepare now, even before that year comes, that I know I will marry. I need this kind of wife who will assist me in this, and to me, I need a kind of wife who has this purpose, because I will assist her in this.
Exactly.
That
it's a matter of giving, receiving, and also giving.
Other than just being like, oh, she got a nice nice shape. No. That one would bring a change in these conflicts, and would even assist us to fight this GBV.
Now, Uncle Genzi, maybe if you can look at back to the GBV issue. While I was doing my research, we also need to understand that there are legal and different types of policy gaps, because Kenya has also enacted different rules, different laws on embarking or fighting on this thing. So one of the reporting barriers we was asking is, I actually got this question: why do many victims hesitate to report gender-based violence, and how can the systems be improved? I don't know whether you try to get, because when, let's say, a lady has been raped or she has been done something, when you go to report in the the police stations, we get to understand, or we get to tunajua that they are not taking that seriously. Get, and I think that is one of the reasons as to why some of the ladies out here who have experienced GBV really don't have that safe space to go and to air out their grievances.
I have seen something that let me just talk about it, and I'm not saying it at a point of I don't remember where I saw it.
Okay.
But I may have experienced it, seen it, or maybe had it.
Okay.
I don't know. But it's something I'm just trying to hide it. Have you ever experienced such like gender-based violence? Yeah. Someone. Okay, let me use this one. As a wife to someone, I've experienced the conflict, gender-based violence, to a point like my husband has threatened to kill me, and he has took a knife to a point that we were at a point that only a pig for him to act. But I decided to run away. Then I go to the police station, I report. Then after reporting, instead of being called and tried to be assist, then polisi mwenye nimempata hapo anaanza kunikatia.
That happens. That can happen. I've never heard of such a case, but that can happen.
So if I'm a wife to someone, then this is now let us take it to a young relationship. We are by 20s. Now she has been threatened to that point that she needs to call the police. Then anaenda reports the case. Then the man is just told wacha hii mambo, so pesa kidogo imekuliwa. You getting that one? And then after that namba yangu polisi anachukua anaanza kunikatia. Amenisaidia. So this thing is all around. It is not within, when it comes to policies, it is not within the act. Wangapi wamewawa, hizo kesi zimeteka how long kukuwa investigated? Who are the failures? Am I the one who wasn't reported yet, or it is the people that have given the message who are in charge of doing the investigation? I get in what I'm trying to mean.
Exactly.
So when it comes to policies, yeah, they are there.
They are there. But have they been enacted or have they been worked on? That's why when the show began, I talked about having the intentionality behind what society needs to do. And society is me and you. Society, they are the ladies who are in this, the children, the law enforcers, policy makers and all that. Exactly. So maybe if you can go down and look at the Kenyan laws on gender-based violence, where we see that there are several laws that have been enacted to address the mitigations of gender-based violence. Maybe if you can, I have 8 of them, so
yeah, you can read
let
them
me just
and then
read
we
them
analyze.
out and we can analyze what we can analyze. And for the viewers out there, please, as I mentioned these things, you can go and find out for your own. The first one being the Sexual Offences Act of 2006, which addresses the sexual violence that happens, including rape, defilement, and the penalties that are under it. The second being the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act of 2015, which provides a legal framework for addressing domestic abuse. We have the Penal Code, which covers crimes such as assaults, battery, and murder-related cases to gender-based violence. We have the Children's Act of the latest one to the Children's Act of 2022, which protects children from abuse and neglect, and things including sexual exploitation. The fifth one being the Employment Act of 2006 for the workplace, where it prohibits sexual harassment in the workplace. So here the workplace, they have something on it. And the Counter Trafficking in Persons Act of 2010, which addresses trafficking for sexual or labor exploitation. The seventh one being the Female Genital Mutilation FGM Act of 2011, which criminalizes FGM and protects survivors. The last one, of course, being the Constitution of Kenya, which guarantees equality, non-discrimination, and the right to freedom from violence.
And you may be surprised. Why do you have such beautiful policies?
Yes.
Yes, you are still experiencing such things.
Exactly.
And it's quite, I don't know, should I say it's quite funny or what?
If we can be truthful to ourselves as citizens of Kenya and being really integral with our constitution, if we followed it to the letter, or if we followed it to some degree of perfection, we could be somewhere. We couldn't have to go back to the drawing board and try to formulate or to try and amend these constitutions. They're already there. People sat down and walikaa hivi chini wakasema it shall be like this and this. So you also need to be truthful, need to be very intentional in our fighting against gender-based violence, and also kufuatilia sheria as citizens of this
Let
country.
me just talk about this one, the 2022 Act of Children.
No, the Children's Act.
Yeah, the protect children from the abuse and neglect, including sexual exploitation.
Yeah.
You wonder. We have these human rights organizations. We have those the organizations that fight with the child abuse, and we have the police. Most of the cases are reported in the police stations. But hear them saying these cases should be taken back to the community, whereby they will now go sit down and try to talk about it. These things should end. If you are accused of abusing a child sexually, and there is a proof, other thing, there are so many things. Even wanawake wakiumizwa, there is a there is a kind of people who are trying to diminish the morals of ladies, whereby ati mtu anaekelea jirani man ameabuse mtoto wake ndo akule pesa, then ako na connection na polisi. Sasa polisi ndo anaingililia na hizo laana ziwafuate, because these are kind of things that they are killing the morals things. The reflex, the good reflex of a society is killed by such stories. Whereby now I cannot imagine, even today, such stories when I read, I just fear having a child within my homestead. Although kids love my cartoons, but if you remember such things, I would rather just stay away from them because I don't know what their parents will bring on the table.
Yeah.
Or harassment, but you wonder the role of police within this investigation, the role of this child. Don't try to prove that this child was abused by having mdomo kubwa. We will meet the what? The laws. No, don't try that. Please have evidence. We know if the act, usioshe mtoto, take the kid to the hospital. And also the relationship as a doctor, please usikue a person to fake the evidence. Give clear evidence. And that's why we are not respected nowadays. Because these people, they try to, you don't do your work. You're trying to please someone. Like, just write mtoto wangu amerepiwa 3,000. 3,000. Mshahara wako imefika 40,000. Man, the desire, even it is opposite of what you need. What you want and what you have been given to spoil someone's life doesn't make sense. We have very nice principles, but the houses, the organizations, the departments that are associated with the case investigations, they are failing us. That's why you find, like, even the view of boy child in the society, it's also affecting us. Because I will grow. Nowadays I do say this. There is this principle that I say, if ladies can understand their role, then men can change. Because you must be able to understand. Right now, majority of the men are ready to settle. But what is really bringing a confusion is whereby what kind of woman that I will settle with. Nitakuja ni build a bebe mali yangu. These funny things ndizo zina spoil the cake. The food. Nitafanya hivi nikuje niamke wandi nipate ameenda na kila kitu. Men have been straining. So nikikushika, what do you expect? What do you expect? Huh? I have you, then blah. We started well. Huh? You said my intimacy was good. Then after 2 months, you feel like I'm not giving my best. Bro, why did you not feel it at the beginning? Why are you feeling it at a point that I'm feeling like we are together? Like I've settled my mind. I know you are mine. And ladies, men are like cake. How you deco it in terms of your principles, they can be deformed. If you want to deco a car, cakes, you can deco them. You will need to put a champagne on the top of the cake. It will accept. You need it to feel like the cake is not good. Definitely, it won't taste good. Okay, what I mean is this: the way you behave gives a next view of how your husband will behave. The way you treat your husband, it will define the next treatment of how your husband will treat you.
And do you think the same would apply when the roles have been, or the genders have been switched?
No, because there is what we call the principle that governs a man and the principle that governs a lady. You have different organs and different things, perspectives. When it comes to physical, I've told you, let me say, a foolish man will always be adapted. Say it will always be
Focusing on something.
will always be focusing on the physical appearance of a lady. But a bright man, a man who understands what he needs, he knows I have my class. Not all ladies should fit in my circle.
Yeah.
So he will be able to understand the brain empowered, the kind of the lady, the kind of the brain that the lady has, and definitely he will go for your type, and this one will kill the desires for you to be attracted by the everything. But a man who just needs intimacy daily, the prostitution. You don't need to wear bad for you to be a prostitute. Even misbehaving at that angle, you become a prostitute. Or I've given another term that is so complicated.
Exactly, it will bring a lot of.
Okay, let me say this. I mean this. The level of a lady in terms of life and a man, it is always different. Not all ladies. You hear some of the ladies saying, "Mimi nikigongwa ama nikiteteshwa I feel nimeolewa." Some saying, "Kelele tu kidogo hivi inaweza fanya niende." Some try to perfect. There are those ladies who like things that are perfect. Ukitoka kwa nyumba kama unaenda job, hiyo tie lazima uko umenyonga vizuri. Hakuna mchezo. But some will just sleep for you to wake up and go. Now just imagine now, this man test yake ni ya wale like, "Baby, am I looking good? My love, how do I look?" Then they are there saying, "You look good, you look good." Even you don't want to see. Definitely, he will lose the test. And still, you will wonder, why is it that now my husband, there is not that bond between me and my husband? Because you didn't take time to understand what your husband likes. But if you will understand your husband is a kind of person who likes to be praised, definitely will know when to critique and when to praise. Because you may either motivate him, ladies are motivators. You may either motivate him or discourage him. And once you discourage him severally, and he cannot confront you, definitely seek another person who will encourage him. And you see, the moment you will know you will try now to confront your husband, but your husband will have something to accuse you with. Then you will be like, even I need to go and have also someone of my caliber. And it will bring conflict. Yeah.
So maybe as we wind up, I would like to give my final take on it. And on matters on gender-based violence, fighting it, I would say that we need to come together as a community. Everyone has a role to play in shaping of the society.
Yeah.
And I would advise that we have a lot of intentionality that in fighting gender-based violence, everyone should have a positive role to eradicate, whether it is through sensitization, whether it is through helping of the NGOs, whether it is through maybe creating a safe space to listen to gender-based violence. If you're not in a situation where you can help that person, direct them to a professional for professional assistance. Third party maybe if need be. There are so many ways that you can play. Si lazima ikwe directly, it can also be indirectly. So let us work on shaping a better society for ourselves, for our parents, for our children, and for our children's children, for us to be a better people of today and tomorrow.
Yeah, let us not be at a point like we need the money, the funds. I have an organization because now we have violence, based violence that is increasing in this country, and there are some of organizations that feel like we need to stop this thing. Please don't go brand yourself for you to secure these funds. Please, can you think about if it happen? If these incidents are taking the kind of incident are taking place right now, we cannot withstand them. If we won't fight this thing, how will be the incidents in tomorrow? What kind of incident are we going to experience? If today a man can just pick a knife, chop ladies' parts, organs, chop ladies' fingers, stab her, then what are we going to experience in the next day? It may be worse than today, but we have an opportunity to stop it today.
And maybe before even you continue, remember the point. Communication is the key in any form of relationship. Communication. I get anywhere, and actually not just communication, but proper communication. They normally say, how you say it is even important than what you're saying it. So it's always good, maybe when there are conflicts, to avoid such acts of violence, because human nature will lead us to overreact sometimes. It's always good also to have self-control, to relax, to compose yourself. You need to compose yourself kidogo and learn how to communicate properly.
Yeah, and to the ladies, to our lovely Kenyan ladies, your test, stick to your test. Don't rub some of your principles for a man to fit in your life. I don't need a drunkard person. Then, he has the kind of qualities that I need, but he takes drugs. So I'll just try to convince him to stop. My ladies, it can't happen. Oh, he loves football. I will try to convince him because I don't love football. Ladies, if you need someone who attention is all about family, seek that. You need someone who you can do crazy things with, seek that. You need a drunkard person, stick to that. You don't need a drunkard person, stick to that. If you need a kind of person who will be there to motivate you, seek that person. And don't be a lady like in the family. What you can bring on the table, it is the intimacy, and try to decor a house. Lady, be empowered. Many are trying to become something. Be empowered. Don't view a man via masculinity, but try to look on your principles. What a kind of man that I need. Because short, tall, it is your test. Don't define. If you are told what is the kind of man that you need, stop defining the physical appearance of the man. You already have it. I cannot date a short man. I cannot date a tall man. That is a test. Like a man, you cannot date a oversized. You see? Yeah. That's what I can say. Thank you very much. See you next time. At least today I've talked about something new.
Yeah.
GBV, and if we come across another thing that really affecting our nation, we'll still talk about it other than politics.
Yeah.
See you on the next episode. Thank you. Have a nice time. Be blessed.
Yeah.